All right, let's talk midweek football. You look at the schedule and it's just a wall of fixtures, right? It can feel like total chaos. But honestly, that chaos, that's where we find the value. So in this breakdown, we're going to slice right through all that noise with a really sharp, strategic guide to building a winning accumulator. And look, I'm not kidding around here. This Wednesday is absolutely massive. We're talking about non-stop football from the early afternoon rolling all the way through to those big primetime Premier League games. Yeah, it can be a lot to take in, but that huge number of games, it creates some really unique opportunities for value, but only if you've got a solid plan. Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll kick off with a look at the midweek frenzy, then get straight into our two-part winning strategy. After that, we're going to hunt for some over goals, then look at a clever under bet, and finally, we'll put it all together to build our final slip. Sound good? Let's dive in. So first up, let's just get a feel for how much is going on. I mean, the day gets started with Turkish Cup games around lunchtime, then it just keeps rolling through all these European ties, and it all builds up to those huge Premier League matches under the lights. It is a full, non-stop day of football, and that means it's absolutely packed with potential value. So the big question is, how do you even begin to make sense of all that? Well, we're going to cut right through the noise. We're going to break down the entire fixture list using a simple but really effective two-part strategy. And listen, we're not just trying to pick winners here. We're looking for very specific value in the goal markets. Okay, here it is. This is the heart of our whole approach. Think of it like this. Part one is our attack. We're going on the offensive, targeting over goals in games where you have a clear favorite playing against a much weaker team. Then, part two is our defense. This is where we get smart. We look for those huge mismatches where the bookies set the goal line way too high, and we strategically bet the under. It's like adding a safety net to the whole accumulator. All right, let's get into it. First up, we're building the attacking part of our slip. We're hunting for those over goals. You can think of these as the foundation of our whole accumulator. These are the picks we feel really confident about. So you can see we're casting a wide net across Europe to build a really solid base. Over in Germany, in the DFB Pokal, that Union Berlin versus Bayern Munich game just screams goals, so we're on the over 2 there. Then in Spain, you've got Real Madrid heading to Bilbao. That feels like a great spot for over 1.5 goals. And of course, in the Premier League, we're definitely targeting goals in the Arsenal and Brighton games, and in that Leeds versus Chelsea match too. Now, every good ACCA needs what we call a banker, right? That one pick that you build everything else around. For us, this week, it's Liverpool at Anfield. Come on, they are an absolute goal-scoring machine at home. So backing over 1.5 goals in their match, that's the rock-solid cornerstone of this whole ticket. Okay, so our attack is set. Now it's time to play a little defense. And this brings us to that second crucial part of the strategy, the strategic underbet. Now, this is a little more subtle, but trust me, it's an absolutely brilliant way to add some stability and real value to your accumulator. So what does that even mean, a strategic under? Well, what we're looking for is something I call a high goal line mismatch. This is where you have one team that's such a massive favorite that the goal line gets pushed way up to something like 4.5 or even 5.5 goals. The beauty of this is that the favorite can still win easily, say 3-0, and our underbet still comes in. See how that works? And here are a few perfect examples of where this strategy comes into play. You know, a Celtic home game against Dundee? Classic example. The exact same thinking applies to Olympiacos in their cut match. And over in Italy, taking the under 4.5 goals in the Inter versus Venezia game is just a smart, calculated play. Think about it. Inter doesn't need to score 5 goals to win the game, right? And that's what makes this a really strategic bet. So let's put it all together now. When you combine our really high confidence over picks with these smart, calculated under bets, you're doing so much more than just randomly picking teams to win. You're actually building a balanced, thought-out, strategic slip that's designed to take on the whole day's fixture list. Okay, before we go any further, this is, without a doubt, the most important message of the entire breakdown. Look, this is all about strategy and finding an edge, but you have to always gamble responsibly. Please, just bet what you can truly afford to lose. That's the #1 rule. So there you have it. We've gone through all the fixtures. We've given you a complete 2-part playbook. The homework is done. The strategy is crystal clear. So now there's really only one question left. What's your winning move going to be?